Hello. I just wanted to share my story to all those ladies out there who have lost babies and specifically miscarriages, stillborns, um, difficulty trying to conceive, or one way or the other, this pregnancy journey that's supposed to come all natural to all women have not materialized in that way to some of us. And I wanted to encourage and inspire and share my story so that in the dark days when nothing seems to make sense and you're kind of disoriented with the whole problem and you kind of want to think this cannot be happening to me, maybe you can reflect on my video or this YouTube broadcast and console yourself and know that it might be cloudy, but there is sunshine behind the clouds. And all our stories might not end the same way, but in that moment, in that time when the pain seems unbearable, that you might find some solace in what I'm about to tell you. Right? I'm a simple black girl, got married at 23 to a very, very handsome and nice young man. I did not think anything about babies. I love babies, but it was in the future cards, nothing major, nothing pressing. And then I found out I was pregnant, like 2 months after our wedding. And we were happy, and it was like, well, we weren't thinking about it, but we're here now. It's gonna be exciting. Well, shock horror, 5 months later, 20 weeks to be precise, had a miscarriage, and no one could give me a reason why it happened. So far as I was concerned, everything, we were both healthy. We everything should be going normal. The pregnancy, at the beginning, I was really sick for the first 16 weeks, but nothing unusual at all. So, like I said, I was about 24 then, 23 and a half, 24, and your perception is a little bit different. Somehow lives, you have like a whole lot of years ahead of you, and I was devastated. We were both devastated, and I kind of recalled into myself a bit, and did not really, my mom is not a mumsy, cuddly, encouraging person. So, nobody really could help me. So I just sort of kept to myself, and, me and my husband my husband and I just kept on with our lives as best as we can. And then I think 3 months later, I found out I was pregnant again. So this time I sat up and I said, wow, okay, so this has happened again. And the first time I was like clueless, naive, clueless, did not know anything of that sort happened. Like you think it happens to other people, but not to you. Like in your wildest, craziest dreams, you don't think it's going to happen to you. So I sat up. I was in Canada then. I say that because I moved a lot. And the first one happened in London, where we got married, London, England. So by this time, I was back in Canada, saw my doctor, and he took it seriously. He was a very nice man. He took it seriously, sent me for all the right checks and everything. And as a precaution, at 16 weeks, they decided to stitch the neck of the womb because they thought, because the first one was so spontaneous, that I could have what they term incompetent cervix. So did that, but whether, all I know now that it's bizarre, but it's a curse, that the doctor was very tired, and 3 a.m. in the morning, he came to me, and I've been waiting all day, and I was really frustrated. And then he said, I'm really tired. I just came out of surgery, and I would like you to rest, and I go rest a little bit, and then we can do this in the morning around 10 o'clock. And I wasn't having it. I'm like, you made me wait all day, and you know my history, and I could lose this baby any minute, and it needs to be done. So I guess he was a compassionate guy, because he said, okay, it will only take about 40 minutes. So he made himself, stitch, take them. They took me to the theater, and, I had the procedure done. Well, I could attribute it to that, or what I'm talking about. Anyway, the next day, everything, he said everything was fine. But when I went to pee, I noticed that there was like a strong pulling sensation every time I emptied my bladder. So I mentioned it to the nurse. She brushed me off and said, oh yeah, you just had your womb stitch. You're going to be sore down there. Give it a few days, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Came home, and then this pain just kept going on every time I emptied my bladder. And then finally, I think 2 days afterwards, I emptied my bladder, felt that pulling sensation again, and then a gush of water. Just everything. I said, nah, this is not pee. Something is not right. And the relief with the gush of water was unsettling, because obviously whatever was stitched improperly or had been stitched that was not supposed to be stitched, now with the tear and the water gushed out, the relief came from that. So I was rushed to the emergency. Then the second devastating blow came. Your waters broke. You're 16 weeks pregnant, and we're gonna put you on antibiotics, and we're gonna keep you in hospital, and keep your fingers crossed. If the water stops leaking, then your body makes more water every day, more amniotic fluid. That should be more, scientific. Your body makes more each day. So if it stops and the hole seals itself, then the pregnancy can continue. But if not, then the pregnancy can continue, because it's not good for the baby. Well, wow. How does one put that feeling into words? I really don't think, ladies, I can put it into words. Because if you've been through anything similar to what I've been through, if you had that devastating miscarriage, then you will know, you have an idea what I'm talking about. Your whole world spins around you. You cannot believe you are at this junction again. Your brain cannot fathom, why? How? I did everything right. I thought this time I had it in the bag. I took precautions. What got stitched? How did it tear? No answers, ladies. No answers. It could be an infection. I did not have an infection. I was tested. No answers is what I'm saying. And from my gut feeling, I did not go after any doctor, because you know what? He was tired. And I did not listen to his advice. So even if he stitched something that he wasn't supposed to, did it really matter? It didn't matter, because here I was again, round 2. 2 strikes, it looks like, against me. Anyways, moving on. So waited. Every time I got up to use them, I was on bed rest in the hospital. Every time I got up, day 1, day 2, the water just gushed out. By day 2, I did not even have to get up, and it was just gushing out. Now, ladies, you have not known pain until you have a live baby inside of you, and all the water supporting its environment, and the very environment that he or she needs to thrive is destroyed one way or the other. And you are facing the prospect of having the baby terminated because it cannot go, and it's so young. It's so young. Like if the baby was, say, 28 weeks, they could do something. 24 weeks, they could do something. 20 weeks, they could even let you stay till 26 weeks, push things a little bit. But 16 weeks, and I'm saying this was 20 years ago, 1996, 97. Things have moved on a lot today. But then, so 2 days later, I had a group of doctors speak to me and say, we know this is really hard, but the risk of infection is very, very high for you and the baby. And, the baby cannot survive. We don't have any documentation of a baby surviving without amniotic fluid for so long. And even if it does, you are risking this, risking that. But you know what? I did not know what I know now. If I did, I would have fought harder for my baby. So, in the end, that pregnancy was terminated. Came home cold inside, cold inside, cold outside. Don't remember much. Just hell. Just hell, disinterested in everything. Life became a routine that I did because I had to, because I was breathing. Not because I wanted to, not because I cared. So, it went on, and then the following February, this has happened in October, got pregnant in June, lost it in October. So 2 in 1 year. Lost the first baby at 20 weeks in March. Then got pregnant in June and lost it in October. So December, November came. My husband was then moving from England to Canada. So he came in February. He came in December. And in February, we found out we're pregnant again. And by this time, I was beginning to be, should I rejoice? Is it even gonna end well? Can my body do this? What is wrong with me? What is behind this? What is going on? No answers. All your blood work is normal. Everything tested is normal. All the tests that they done on the fetuses and everything is normal. So why? What is going on? Is everything is normal? And I carried on. Seems to be going well. Found a nice gynecologist. Took good care of me and took all the precautions. I had progesterone suppositories very early on. Stitched the neck of the womb again. This time, no problems. Gave me this tablet. I'm not even sure what it is now because I was very naive. And he said it was to relax the muscles of the uterus after he stitched the neck of the womb, had the suture put in. And it was to relax the muscle and not contract so that, I don't risk a miscarriage or anything like that. I just put all my trust in him, And then 2 days later, I went home. Everything was going well, and all that. And then 28 weeks, I had an appointment, went to see him. He was on holidays. I did not know. So I just did not feel right going home. And, so I went. The hospital was next to his office, so I went to the hospital and I said, I was due for a check on the 28 weeks, and I've been, and my doctor is away, and I don't feel settled in myself to go home and wait for him to come back. So could you just check on me? And they said, by all means, yes. And I was scanned. Shock horror number 3. No heartbeat. You know, it's been a long time now, but I don't even know how I got off the bed and onto the floor. And I don't know how long it took them to call my husband from work to get there, because he was working like another town away. So really, I could not, I don't know. I just remember his tired face. And oh my God, women out there, anybody listening to me, sorry. Sorry from the bottom of my heart if you have gone through anything in terms of losing a baby, or not trying, or trying to have one and not getting it, or trying to conceive, a miscarriage, a stillborn, lost a child. Sorry. I pray grace, supernatural grace is what I pray on us and on you, that in this moment, wherever you are in this juncture, that God will hold you in the palm of his hand. And I'm saying that because I'm coming from a Christian point of view, and I don't mean to offend anybody. It's my story, okay? So I don't discriminate whatever religion you are or wherever your background is. That's not what I'm talking. Women and the pain revolving fertility and pregnancy and babies. So if I say, God, it's me, but I pray, and this video is coming from that angle, that there is a way. Don't take it and think, it's me. No. There are deep spiritual issues behind this, and it's not woozy stuff. No. It's just from your inside. And how the whole world is programmed, and how we were brought into this earth, and the family, and how things, and the spiritual realm, and how all these things revolve and bring about this about. Because there is a preacher online, you can find him. He's not around anymore. I believe he's gone on to be with the Lord, but his name is Derek Prince. And if you have a minute, just Google him, Derek Prince, and find out about curses and generational curses. We're not meant to suffer like this. We're not meant to go through this. The norm, or how God created us, is to be able to bear children, because his first commandment was be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. So anything that deviates from that normality is perverse, and it's something has gone wrong, and it's not you. You are a product of what's gone wrong, and you are suffering because of, being a product of what's gone wrong. But I'll get into that, because if I don't finish this video, I'll do a number 2 and number 3 to put the point across. And like Jesus said, whoever has ears, let them hear. If it's not for you, by all means. But even if it's not for you, my heart goes out to you, and I stand with you, and I pray for you, and I pray grace for you in your time of need. So coming back to my story, this was baby number 3 now at 28 weeks. I mean, my husband and I were just sad. Babies everywhere, push chairs everywhere. Even my own sister was having a baby then. And I had to, I packaged some of the stuff that I had bought for my baby and sent it to her. I don't even remember she even paying any attention to it. I come from a family like that. And it is the hardest thing. See, if you have family around you and they stand with you and they hold on to you, thank God every day for them and pray for them. And thank God that you have them to wrap their hands around you. I had nobody. It was my husband and I. I come from a family where You, after the second one, I told them. The first one they knew, but by the third time, I did not feel comfortable telling everybody, because you'll be gossiped about. They will attribute it to something that they know nothing of. Like, maybe it's something you did, or it's your history, or maybe your husband, anything. But saying, oh, we pray for her. Oh, my heart goes out to her. So, we just kept to ourselves. We just kept to ourselves. But there was a wonderful church in the town that we went to. And the pastor, we found that church because when I was thrashing around at the hospital, when they told me that, the baby had no heartbeat, they asked me if I wanted anything. And I said, can you call me any man of God? I need answers. I need someone to pray for me. This has to stop. I cannot take this anymore. And I'm saying this calmly because, it's been a long year and things have moved on since then. Oh, dear God. Anyway, they called me this lovely pastor, Pastor Dale. And he came, he prayed with us. He came to visit us at home. He invited us to church. And then he said he had a dream, he had a vision, and he had to tell me. And I also had a dream and had a vision because I threw myself into this long fast. I think it was a 30-day fast or a 20-day fast. And I said, Lord, you have to help me. I have nobody. I grew up without my father. My father has been an alcoholic all his whole life. He is the son of one of the richest men in Ghana, and he threw his whole life on drinks. And I know now, I don't really blame him because, it's bondage. But he's still alive and still drinking. But anyway, he wasn't in my life. And my mom is a wonderful woman, but she has dedicated all her life for her siblings for some bizarre reason. I do not get it, to the point that my sister and I have always felt like second-class citizens. Like, we in the stacking order, we in the packing order, we were second to her siblings. We did not. I could be wrong, but it's how I feel, and my sister feels the same way. So the family was kind of scattered, 5 girls, 4 girls, or 4 women, always bickering. Yeah, no love lost. My mom took every one of them and their children like her own, but then they did not reciprocate. When it came to them, it was them and their children, and then it was my mom and her kids. Well, it was us, my sister and I. But from my point of view, my dad not being in the picture, growing up without a father, and my mother being the way she was, opened the gates to so many things that I did not know. And now I know. And that's why I want to share it. Because this all can be resolved, but it has to be done in the way. I'll get to that. So anyway, this lovely man of God said he had a vision, and God told him that, and he's not a woozy man. This is a white guy, okay? This is a white man from Kitchener, Ontario. He's not, all these African spiritualists and all that woozy, come stay with me and I'll do this, and nothing like that. Okay, he's just a simple guy, and he prayed, and the Lord spoke to him and said, it's a curse. Tell them it's a curse, but I've removed it. I've broken it. And it coincided with my dream. I had a dream, and in the dream, this man of God had gone to ask God on my behalf what's going on. And I could see rays from heaven falling on the man. And after a while, he came to me and said, God said it's whatever it was gone. So I just knew it in my spirit that it was a confirmation that, whatever hell had been chasing us, by God's grace, He had delivered us. We were in the church, we settled in the city, and everything was fine. And we just, that gave us hope to move on. And I enrolled in nursing, and my husband even got a better job. We moved to a new place, and we were happy. We bought our first brand new car ever. Amazing. We were feeling amazing, and we were trying our best to move to the future and put the past behind, because I could not hug any of them babies. I only had pictures. I used to call it my box of horrors, because that's the only place I had their pictures there to look at what could have been. So almost a year later, because this happened in October. No, I tell a lie. This happened in July. This happened in July. So the following year, in September, I found out I was pregnant again. And we were cautious. I had a new gynecologist. And I even came across him by accident, because I went to my doctor's complaining of pain, and he said it was a cyst after the scan, and fibroids. He said fibroids, and I broke down, crying, calling my mother, and said, now I can't have kids, now I have a fibroid. Like, what is going, just all of that stuff. And so he sent me to a gynecologist, and this gynecologist, Dr. Paredes in Kitchener. And I met him, and he said, who said you have a cyst? You're pregnant. Oh my goodness, I almost fell off the chair. The problem up to now was not getting pregnant. And that's what, ladies, we have to appreciate about each other. Someone's problem is trying to conceive. It's not happening. Mine was, I can get pregnant like every couple of months, but it's the pregnancies are not surviving. And then someone's, different issues there, different issues. Anyway, he laid down his card and said, look, you've told me your history. You need to quit nursing until the baby is born, because I'm not going to take any chances. And I loved him for that. He laid down the law, and he wasn't going to be pushed. He wasn't going to be moved. And I like that. And at the beginning, I fought a little bit, but then I spoke to my mom, who is a midwife too, and she said, don't fight doctors. Just tell them that they have your best interest at heart, and let them do what they need to do, and they'll do right by you. And even then, as I was going to church and loved God dearly and praying and seeing the face of God, I had still not seen the second level of Christianity, or worshiping God, not Christianity. I'm not making this about religion. No, it's a personal relationship with God and your future and what's going on around you. So religion is what is killing the world. So put religion on the side. But being a Christian, yes, believing in Jesus Christ is what I'm talking about. Anyway, so everything went well, and everything went well. And because I don't know who is watching now and what stage you are in, but it's to encourage you. So my daughter was born at 41 weeks. Normal delivery. Took time off nursing from when Dr. Paredes told me to get off my feet and take it easy. Nothing went wrong during the pregnancy. He monitored me like a hawk. Slipped and fell on the ice. Went to the hospital. They called him. He gave me a good telling off and sent me home again. Everything was fine. He monitored me. Anyway, to cut a long story short, my rainbow baby arrived. And 7 years later, I did not even attempt pregnancy again after that, to be fair. I was not going there again. Okay, this was a scary place. And, I see women popping them out every couple of years, and I'm like, okay, I did not know better. Now I know that not all of us can do this. At the time, that's what I thought. So I did not go there again. And then we had moved back to England again. We were settling in and everything was fine. And I found out I was pregnant again. And this time the doctors also went full blown, monitored me carefully, checked everything was fine. My blood pressure was a little bit elevated because I was working nights as a nurse. So it was playing up a bit, but it was always within reason. So, no problems whatsoever. And I had my second daughter. And it went on and on and on and on. Everything was fine and everything is fine. And then 7 years later again, I found out I was pregnant. And I said, whoa, we're here again. But, I thought I have it in the bag. The curse has been broken. Nothing should go wrong. How wrong was I? This time, 35 weeks. 35 weeks later. Just lying home, lying on the, just relaxing, and said, I haven't heard from this baby today. My husband said, oh, it's fine. My daughter, my oldest daughter, started to use his phone, her phone, sorry, not his, her phone, to use the flashlight because she's already on the internet researching how to make babies move. And said, oh, someone said if you put shine a torchlight on the baby, it might cause them to react. She did that. We were laughing. Nothing happened. I said, I still don't feel anything. And so I tried to put it behind me and say, I'll give it a couple of hours and see. And then I felt a gush. Started bleeding. My youngest screaming because he's not seeing mommy, just blood just everywhere, just like that. Rushed to the hospital. Shock horror number 4. Can you believe it, ladies? Can you believe it? 35 weeks. Shock horror number 4. No heartbeat. I'm sorry, there's no heartbeat. On behalf of the hospital and the staff and everything, we're really, really sorry. Oh my God. Oh my God. I remember screaming and saying, I can't do this. I'm not gonna survive this. I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. It can be. It can be. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And then that's when the nightmare, oh my gosh. If I thought I knew pain, this was a whole different level of pain. Because prior to the ones that had happened previously, I did not have any kids then, you see. So there wasn't that added trauma on your children. But now that you had 2, and they've seen you pregnant, and they've come to the hospital to see the baby, and they see their stillborn baby sister in a bassinet beside you. The whole horror of, oh my God, I mean, I cannot paint a dark picture enough. I can't, because I cannot put it into words. My whole life, everything. Then and because when I was rushed to the hospital, apparently I had a placenta abruption. But I believe it was because the baby passed away, and so the placenta just thought it was time to give up, and that's why it just. And so I had an emergency C-section. And then I think because of my grief and everything, they weren't gonna do the C-section, but I passed out from the trauma. I passed out. So the doctors were scared about my well-being, you know, that I might even die, plus besides all the bleeding. So they rushed me in for an emergency C-section. So I woke up, bandaged, slashed, and no baby. Well, I had a baby, but one that was never gonna cry. And I named her Riyadh. And that's when my real journey started, because I could not understand. You know, I could not understand. I did not understand. It did not make sense. And I just, I mean, devastation is a word, but living it or being devastated, you know, that word, oh my God. And how dark. I remember coming home and it being such a bright February morning. And for me, it was the darkest day. I mean, the sunlight could have burned my house down and it would still have been the darkest day of my life. And me, my arms craving for my baby so bad, and different ideas going through my head. Ladies, if anyone has been through this, all I have to say is sorry. I pray grace, the grace of God upon you. And if you're going through it, I pray grace and mercy and for the Lord God to hold you tightly, 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 tightly in the palm of his hand and not let you go. Because I think it's one of the worst things a woman can go through. And I think as a human being and as a woman and as a mother, it's the worst. Nobody should ever go through. A baby is, why do we call them bundles of joy? And they are tiny little bundles of joy. They are they signal the beginning of a new life. The days and the months after that were surreal. You know, I braved going out, but every day it was like somebody was punching me in the gut. Every day. When I saw a pregnant woman, when I was going to collect my daughter at school, it was a punch in the gut. When I saw a pram, a pushchair, punch in the gut. It's with no doubt the hardest days of my life. I carried on determined to not let it get me down, but nothing was gonna take this pain away from me until I had another baby. And then that's when the second journey started. Ovulation sticks, the monthly yo-yos. You know, you get your awful friend and it's like someone died. And then towards the middle of the month, you pick yourself up, dust yourself up. You say, okay, right. Once you see 2 lines on the ovulation sticks, you say, okay, there's a chance this month. It could be this month. And then your awful friend shows up again, and then oh my God. You know, ladies, please, please, please. We women need to stop saying we're trying to conceive. Right there and then, it's a defeatist term, trying. You know, I think for my advice, I think even if you want to, don't say that word. And don't lean yourself into it. Because I heard a woman say on TV, and maybe she's right, I don't know. She said, babies come when they are ready, not when we want them to. And if you think about that the Bible says before your mom and dad had you, he knew you. If he did, because of that, that means you can, the baby comes when God has sent the baby. And don't get me wrong, because Isaac's wife, I believe, Rebecca and Leah had babies, and Rebecca did not have babies until God opened their wombs. So there is an element to that, The yo-yos of the monthly cycles, that is evil in itself. That wreaks havoc on relationships. I can't count how many fights that I had with my husband because I'm like, oh, you're not serious. Oh, this and that and that and that. And it's not true. If you were both to go into that same vicious cycle, you're gonna go cycle. But I know when you're going through it, oh my God. The ovulation, I was using ovulation sticks. I did not go any extreme. I just thought, okay, right, ovulation sticks are the maximum for me. So I did that. And bearing in mind, this baby passed in February 2014. And come September 2016, no, September 2015, yeah, I found out I was pregnant again. I can't rejoice just yet. The very day that I was supposed to go book in with the midwife, I started bleeding. And the midwife was very optimistic. He says, oh, maybe it's just hormones settling and spotting. I'm sure it's not that big of a deal. Well, it progressed, didn't stop, ended up in hospital again, and met this horrible doctor who says, I don't even know if there's pregnancy there, or we have to wait to have a scan to verify if there's even a pregnancy. I said, so what's the positive pregnancy test for? I mean, what is the positive blood work for? I know all sorts of conditions now can cause that, but I knew I was pregnant. I knew my cycle, and I knew I did not just, spew out HCG hormones because of something else. Anyway, some of them are idiotic, as we all know. So in the morning, they did a scan, and then they said, there is a sac, but there's nothing in it. So either it's not visible yet, or whatever was there did not survive. Oh my God. A stillborn at 35 weeks. And now a miscarriage at 10 weeks. So anyway, they came up with their formalities. We're gonna do a test. My count was 4,600, and they're gonna do another one on the Monday. And if it was going up, then everything was fine. If it was going down, then we're in trouble. Monday came, had another blood work done, and it had dropped to 1,300. So I was sent home and wait to pass my precious little one again at 10 weeks in England, unless it was something, I don't know, they just send you home. So that's what happened. And I cannot, where I am now, I cannot explain the pain. I mean, if you're going through this, I pray that you don't have children yet whilst you're going through it. But if you have babies and then you're going through it, or they are very, very young, but the school runs, taking your kids to school is the worst. The pregnant women, the so and so mummies have a baby. I mean, it got so bad. My daughter's friend's mom was 45 and got pregnant spontaneously. She wasn't even looking for it, or maybe, unless I don't know the whole story. I cried. I cried. I could not believe it. I stopped going to school altogether. My husband had to take over the school runs. And this other lady that we used to meet when we were walking, as I was walking with my daughter to school every morning. I noticed she was also pregnant. I just could not cope. I could not. I had put up all the fight that I could. I could not cope. So I just quit the school run. I just quit. I said, I can't take it anymore. I can't. I have been strong all my life. I've been strong through all of it. But this time, I can't do it. I can't do it. So my husband took over. And I just hid in my house, and I only went home. I went out like, first thing when the shops open, or very, very late, because then I avoided the push chairs and the pregnant women, because they usually come out around 9, between 9 and 2:30, so I kind of, and I shopped online a lot. And I went for walks in the bushes, like off-road, like how do you call those, like the trails, the biking trails. So they are like in the middle of forest a bit, and so you don't meet anybody, and that's where I walked. I took my walks and did everything that I did in that way. And I hadn't returned to work, and I could not go to work. Mentally, I was not strong. I just could not cope. But one thing that I did, and I'll say that in part 2. I say that in part 2, but there is hope. The glory of God. Because through all this, as I started to ask myself questions and dig deeper and find out, God revealed so much to me. So much to me, that this is not supposed to happen. This happens when something is in your family. You have unforgiveness in your heart. Something was done to you when you were a kid. You were rejected. Some kind of child abuse or neglect. Neglect is a big thing. We don't see it as abuse. And it's like when you feel alone and you're neglected, and or somebody does something to you, and I'm a sensitive person, and I used to take things to heart, and I had a lot of unforgiveness towards my mother and my mother's sisters for the way they treated me, because they always made me feel like I did not matter. I did not matter at all. Like I grew up without a father, and my mom, they were important to my mom than me. So, in the grand scheme of things, like I was nobody. And I did not pull myself out of that. In the background of everything I did, it motivated me striving to achieve things and to do things. But in the background, it was eating at me. And through all of this, my husband also went to bring his brothers here, and since they've been here, oh my goodness, they've taught us lessons that only Judy can explain. He says, no good deed goes unpunished. Like, you do something good, you sponsor them from Africa to Canada and give them, for them to get a better life, and they disrespect you, and they behave as if you never even existed and you didn't. So, getting back on track, just pure hell, just hid, did not go up much, kept to myself, And you cannot run away from pregnancy and babies. Even TV commercials. TV commercials. The Pampers ad, the Aptamil ad, the Cow and Gate ad, all of that. Every TV program that I seem to be watching, there was a pregnant woman in there or someone having a baby. And it was just cutting into me. Like I said, it felt like punches in my gut. And I'm not just saying just a normal punch. I'm talking about a boxing blow punch in my gut every single time. My daughter, my oldest daughter knew it. My youngest knew it. My husband knew it. He would not tell me if somebody was pregnant or somebody we knew. I remember it was even getting worse. Like, I remember my neighbor 2 doors down. She's one of those women who always looks like she's pregnant. And I did not know that. And she was passing by and I was looking through my kitchen window. I'm like, oh my goodness, now she's pregnant now. Ladies, there is hope. I don't know everybody's story. I'm telling mine, my side, about the gut-wrenching pain that I've endured. But you know what? It's taught me some lessons that I could never have learned. And I'm not saying everything happens for a reason. No, I'm not going to say that. Because, no, it's the devil that does this. The Bible says he comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy, okay? And this has nothing to do with God. Why would you give your daughter a candy? Or why would you give a gift to somebody only to take it away again? How does that work? It's not in his plan. God's plan is for us to be fruitful and multiply. And he even says, Exodus 23 or 26, I have to verify that. He even says, there shall be no miscarrying amongst you if you obey his words and his commandment. That's not a God who causes all these and people say, oh, it's meant for your own good and God knows. It's just ignorance. Ignorance at best. I don't even know. It's not right. It's not from God. So whatever you do, go before God to ask for him to show you and reveal to you and help you, but don't accuse you. I remember driving one day after I dropped my kids off to school and the pain was so unbearable. And after after the miscarriage at 10 weeks, and I'm saying, if you're not there and you are making it's all lies, and we're believing that you are God and Jesus Christ is your son, and we believe in you and you will fight our battles for us, then it's a con. If it's a con, then you better tell us, because this is not right. Some of us cannot live like. I remember ranting and raving in my vehicle, praying and fighting and angry and bitter. It's not God. There's a kingdom divided among itself will not stand. That's what the Bible says. And God says his word does not go out and does not return to him void. That means he can say one thing and do something else, and his own kingdom cannot be good and bad at the same time. Then, which side of the team is he playing at? You can play your opponent and be your opponent as well. I mean, when someone comes, who did it? Who done it? It could be you, it could be your opponent. So who done it? No, there's a clear divide, good and evil. Okay, and anything that deviates from that, causing you pain and stress, it's not from God. At least I'll end on that note. It's not from God. So let's clarify that, because I know if you're not careful, you'll be angry at God. You will lose your faith. You will not. And if you're not a believer or a Christian, then it's all hush push for you. Like, you're like, oh, what is she talking about? It's the doctors and everything. But you know what? The same way when you use a remote and the signals that connect to your TV, you don't see it, but it works. The same way there is a spiritual surrounding around us that we don't know much about. I mean, people go to psychics just to access the spiritual world. But the thing about psychics is that as a Christian, I don't believe it, because God said I should not sort divinations and stuff like that in the Bible, and I live by the Bible. But if a psychic, the thing with psychics, and this is my oldest daughter, a child, telling me this. At my most desperate times, I said, maybe I should go ask a psychic if I'm ever going to have a child again. And my daughter said, Mommy, why would you want to go to a psychic? They can tell you stuff, but they can't change it. But I'm sure if you wait on God, He can change it. That's me told. From a child. I am amazed at the wisdom, and I'm like, wow, actually that is really true. The psychic can tell me everything but cannot change it. So, like I said, I'm saying it from a believer, a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe He's the Son of God, and I believe He's died on the cross 2,000 years ago, and He's taken all my infirmities. He's taken my the chastisement of my peace is on Him, and by His stripes I'm healed, and He's died on the cross to atone for our sins. Jesus' blood is the ransom that the devil is holding over our heads, and Jesus paid the ransom with His blood, so that the devil does not hold us hostage anymore, does not hold us ransom anymore, does not demand anything of us anymore, because He's paid, it's finished. And it's in the Bible. It's just I'm not good with my quotations, but I've read it. So I believe that, and I accept that, and you accept that in your spirit. It's not by works. It's not physical. Okay? You don't feel any different when you're born again. It's all in your spirit and your faith. Because the Bible says without faith, you can please God. So it's all by faith in your spirit, your inner man, in your gut, in your spirit. And the fact that you don't see it happen does not mean it's not happening. Because when it's happened here on this earth, physically, it's already happened in spirit. So I think we should more spiritually connected and sensitive than physical, because once it happens, it's done already. In terms of like my losses, once it's happened, you can't bring back the babies anymore. But if I was spiritually in tuned, then God could intervene if you're on the same wavelength. It's like tuning into a radio station. You have to be on the same wavelength as them to listen to them. If not, if you want a specific radio station and you don't tune into their address or how do you call it, bandwidth? If you don't tune into their bandwidth, say it's 97.5 FM, if you don't tune into that, you're not gonna hear the songs that you want to play, or you're not gonna hear your favorite DJ, and all their wisecracks. So it's the same thing with God. You need to tune in, because believe me or not, He created the universe. The Bible says the earth is His and the fullness thereof, but it's on lease to the devil. Adam sold us out. He sold us out big time, us and our babies. Huh? So He sold us out, and this earth realm that we live here is ruled by the devil. And that's why bad things happen. So for you to tune into God, Jesus Christ is the only way. No other way. I'm sorry, but if we're talking about my God and the Bible, then that's it. But of course, God's sunshine shines on everybody, because He already programmed it to work like that. It's like, okay, you bought this house and furnished it nicely, and you gave it to tenants for a year. They are gonna use everything that you have in that house for that whole year, until their lease expires and you kick them out and take your house back. And that's exactly where we are. So ladies, I'll continue this in part 2. I pray the grace of God upon you.